Do you like foundation paper piecing, but you don't like the part where you have to tear the paper away? Well, in today's video, I'm going to compare foundation paper piecing with paper versus foundation paper piecing with freezer paper. We're going to take a look at the two different methods and you can decide which one you like the most. Welcome to part 2 of The Secret Path. In the part 1 video, I showed how to do foundation paper piecing with regular printer paper because it's inexpensive and most people already have this on hand. In this tutorial, I'm going to try a lighter paper and a no-tear method that uses freezer paper. This month's block is a Pinwheel Flower. It's made up of 8 FPP units. When you divide it into quarters, you'll see that each quarter consists of a template A and a template B. This is because the shape of template A and template B are a mirror image of each other. However, to provide interest and dimension, the fabric colours are a different combination, giving us 2 colours for the petals, with another colour forming a pinwheel in the middle of the block. So let's talk about some options for some lighter paper. Regular printer paper is 80 GSM. The GSM refers to the thickness of the paper, so the lower the GSM, the thinner the paper will be and the easier it will be to tear away. However, you must be able to successfully print on the thinner paper. A lot of people have success with newsprint paper. This paper is 48 GSM. It's an uncoated paper with a slightly rough texture and is an off-white colour. Unfortunately for me, I haven't had much success with printing on newsprint paper. Now, that could just be the brand of the newsprint paper that I'm using, or it could also just be my printer. I did, however, find this Kiji A4 office pad that is 55 GSM in Officeworks Australia. It was only $2 and my printer loves it, so that's what I'll be using today. It actually feels quite similar to the newsprint paper. So if you'd like to try a lighter paper, it may be a bit of trial and error for you. However, if you have printed on a lighter paper and you've had success with it, how about you let everybody know in the comments what brand you're using, because we're all about sharing the love and letting everybody know what's the best product to use. Okay, so let's get started with comparing the two different methods. I'm going to start by making my first FPP template using the lighter paper. For the paper method, set your machine up with a neutral colour thread, a size 90 needle and a small stitch length of 1.8. This is because a thicker needle and a small stitch length will help the paper to tear away when the block is complete. I also like to use an open toe foot as it makes it easier to see the line when I'm sewing. And don't forget, no steam in the iron for both methods, as steam will distort the paper. So print the template and measure the 1-inch test box. Then cut out the template, cutting exactly on the outer broken line. As I'm using a lighter paper, I'm going to skip the step where I trace over each line with a tracing wheel, but I am going to fold on each line with a thin ruler because this just makes it easier to pre-fold rather than folding as you're making the template. So each space on the template has a number and each line has a letter, so you work in numerical and alphabetical order. So you don't get your colours mixed up, write them on the template. And a tip for beginners, you can also write the numbers on the back of the template if you like. These are the pieces that are required for 1 unit. All pieces are cut slightly larger than required and are trimmed as we go. You'll find the cutting instructions in the course notes. Now remember, the blank side of the template will be the right side of the unit. So with the blank side facing up, place piece number 1, which is a pink rectangle with the right side facing up. Extend the fabric over the edge of the template by 1/8 of an inch. Turn to the printed side and hold the template up to the light or use a light box to ensure the fabric rectangle covers space 1 and it extends over line A and B by no less than 1/4 inch for the seam allowance. Hold this piece in place with 1 flathead pin. Fold back on line A and trim the excess fabric back to 1/4 inch. Next, take piece number 2 and ensure it fits neatly into the blank space. Place it right sides together with piece number 1, hold it in position and take it to the machine. When sewing, keep the printed side of the paper facing up towards you and stitch directly on line A, sewing the full length of the line. Once sewn, return to the blank side of your work. Gently open out the triangle and press it carefully into place. Pressing is a very important step, as the more accurately you press, the more precise your blocks will be. After pressing, trim the excess fabric back to 1/4 inch seam allowance. You will then repeat this process with piece number 3, sewing along line B. Continue this rhythm of placing the next piece, aligning it carefully, sewing along the next line in alphabetical order, pressing, trimming and repeating. Foundation paper piecing is all about finding a steady, repeatable rhythm. With each step, you're building on the last. Place your next piece, check that it fully covers the area with a little extra for seam allowance, Align it carefully, then sew along the next line in alphabetical order. From there, press to set the seam and open the fabric. Then trim back to keep everything neat and accurate. As you continue, this process becomes more natural. You'll move smoothly from placing to sewing to pressing to trimming without needing to think through each step. Take your time in the beginning, especially with alignment and pressing, and allow yourself to settle into the flow. Continue repeating these steps until your unit is complete. Once finished, trim along the outer edge of the template. Our templates include the seam allowance, which is essential for accurately constructing your units later when assembling the block. And a little tip for trimming: if you find it hard to see the edge of the template, align the 1/4 inch line of the ruler with the outer line of the template. This way you'll be sure that you have an accurate 1/4 inch seam allowance around the edge of the template. I've gone ahead and made some more units, so I have 3 of template A and 3 of template B, and I've saved the last 2 templates to be made with freezer paper so we can compare the methods. Okay, so let's try the freezer paper method. The freezer paper method is a no-tear method, which, as I said before, is great for those that don't like the part where you have to tear the paper away. So if you're new to patchwork and quilting, you may be wondering what freezer paper is. In the USA, they use this product for wrapping and storing meat in the freezer. So this is how it works. One side is dull, just like regular paper. The dull side is perfect for printing templates on with an inkjet printer. The other side with the plastic coating is shiny. When this side is ironed onto fabric, it will temporarily stick to the fabric, and when removed, there is no messy residue from the glue. And an important note is that you can't print onto freezer paper with a laser printer, as laser printers produce heat which may melt the plastic. So if you live in the USA, chances are you can just buy this product in a supermarket. However, if you live outside the USA, chances are you'll have to buy this product either at a craft and quilting store or online. So now we know what freezer paper is, let's get started. So just cut a piece of freezer paper to the same size as your printer paper and print out the template. This time I'm going to make the A template, and I'll be using these fabrics. Once you've printed your templates, cut them out along the marked line. You only need to print 1 page, as you can keep reusing the template until it no longer fuses. With the freezer paper method, you construct the unit in a very similar way to the standard paper method, with a few key differences. First, set up your machine with a size 17 needle and a stitch length of 2 instead of 1.8. You can use your regular foot or a foot with a guide. As before, I've pre-folded all the lines using a thin ruler, which makes the process easier as you make the unit. You can also use a tracing wheel, which I also use for another unit when constructing this block. After doing both, I realized I actually prefer using the tracing wheel because it helped me fold the lines more accurately. Starting with piece number 1, which is a red rectangle, place it onto the template and ensure it's properly aligned. You can use a light box or hold it up to the light to check the positioning. Then iron piece 1 onto the template so it fuses in place. Instead of stitching through the paper, we're fusing the template and sewing next to the folded edge. So be careful not to let the iron touch the exposed shiny side of the freezer paper template. Next, trim away the excess fabric to a 1/4 inch. Add piece number 2, place it right sides together and take it to the machine. Now fold back on line A and sew nice and close to the folded edge of the template, using your foot as a guide. With the freezer paper method, sewing as close to the template as possible is key for accuracy. Turn to the fabric side, fold out piece number 2 and press to fuse it to the template. Repeat these steps with piece number 3. This time I used a foot with a guide to test the accuracy. It worked really well, so it's a great option to try. As always, it's all about finding out what works best for you. Just like with the paper method, you'll begin to settle into a rhythm of aligning your next piece, folding back and trimming to a 1/4 inch, sewing close to the folded edge of the template, then folding out and pressing, repeating until the unit is complete. Both methods work beautifully, but the freezer paper method has a big advantage. Once your unit is finished, you simply trim it back to the size of the template and peel the template away easily, with no need to tear the paper. But before deciding which method you prefer, let's join the units together and compare the results, as there are a few key points that may influence your decision on which method is the best to use for you, as I know it did for me. So here are all 8 units laid out to form the block, and it's time to join them together. Let's start with the paper templates first. These edges here are on the bias grain, which means that they are stretchy. It's very common to have off-grain edges with FPP, so one advantage of the paper template is that the paper stabilizes the fabric as you sew. Okay, so place all the template A's and the template B's right sides together. Align the seams and hold together with clips. I like to use clips with the paper templates as I find that pins tend to make the paper buckle. However, it's a good idea to use a pin to make sure that the seams align. Now let's put the units together that were made with freezer paper. This time I'll pin them, and I'll also use the pin trick to align the seams. To sew the units together, this time I'm using a 1/4 inch foot. I'm starting with the leader, which is just a folded piece of fabric that I start sewing on. I then chain onto the first pair of units. This little thread chain combined with a short stitch length secures the seam at the beginning and end. This will ensure that when the seams are pressed open, the seams won't come apart at the ends. So continue chaining from piece to piece. Now when I'm sewing the freezer paper units together, I'm being very careful to not stretch those bias edges. Now snip the units apart and press the seams open. Remove those puppy dog ears before we join the 4 units together. Now place the 2 top units right sides together and the 2 bottom units right sides together. Hold together with pins or clips. Sew the seams starting with the leader and chain piecing from piece to piece and finishing with an ender. Snip the units apart and press the seams open. Carefully remove the paper from the center seam. It's easier to do this now before the final seam of the block has been sewn. Now in the same way, join the top and bottom rows together, aligning the seams. If you made your units with the paper foundation, it's time to remove the paper. However, if you use the freezer paper method, there is no paper to remove. Press the seams open. So I've finished my blocks and I've quilted them. And I've had some time to think, and I just wanted to come back and give you some extra tips and my thoughts on the 2 different methods. So first of all, let's talk about joining the top and bottom row of that block together. Now, there are a lot of seams that come together in the one place, so that's going to be quite a bulky seam, even though we press the seams open. So to align these pieces, make sure you use the pin trick. So the pin trick is where you take a pin and you're going to insert it through where all of those seams meet on that top layer. Then you're going to take the pin and insert it through the bottom layer in the same place where all of those seams meet. So it's all 1/4 inch in from the edge, and then hold those layers together and push the pin back up to the top. Now when you go to sew this, sometimes what can happen is the seam as you're sewing on the underneath can sort of fold in the wrong direction, and this can cause a jam with all those layers of fabric. So a tip for this is to just get a tiny little piece of paper. It can just be tissue paper or just lightweight paper, and just slip that underneath your block as you get to that intersection of all the seams. And sew, and then when you finish, you can just pull that away. So that's just going to stop those underneath seams from folding in the wrong direction and causing a jam. It also helps to stabilize the seam. Now let's talk about the pros and cons of the 2 different methods. So the pros of using freezer paper is obviously you don't have that paper to tear away at the end, and you also have a template that can be reused more than once. Some of the cons would be with this method is that if you don't stitch exactly next to the folded edge of the freezer paper, your block is not going to be exact. And I did have this issue with my block, and I did lose a point on the edge. It's just a little bit. I'm still happy with the block. I'm not going to go and remake it, but it is something to be mindful of. Another con of working with the freezer paper template is that when you go to join the units together, the edges could be on the bias grain or off grain, and so they could stretch when you're sewing them together. So this can be overcome by making sure you spray starch your fabrics before you cut them out, and just being very gentle with those pieces when you're joining them together. Now let's talk about the paper method. The cons are that you have to tear the paper away when you finish making the block. And the pros are that you have an exact line to stitch on when you're sewing the pieces onto the paper template. You also have the edges stabilized of the unit when you go to sew the units together. So all those bias and off-grain edges are going to be held nice and firm when you sew them. And also when you go to join those units together, you also have a line to follow. So you don't have to be stressing about using that exact 1/4 inch seam allowance. You've got a line to stitch on. So it's all about working out which way you feel works best for you. I kind of must admit that I do prefer the paper method a little bit more than the freezer paper method, although I like that method too, but I'm going to continue using paper, and the lighter weight paper also worked quite well. So we'd love to know your thoughts in the comments. So if you'd like to tell us your favorite method, and if you've got any tips, you can also share those. And we received a comment on one of our last videos about using a smaller stitch length when using a paper template, because the smaller stitch length will help the paper to tear away better. So you can definitely decrease your stitch length. So you can go down to say 1.2, and as I said, it does help the paper to tear away. It is a bit hard to unpick, so if you are a beginner, a smaller stitch length is going to be difficult if you do need to unpick, but as you get better, definitely try decreasing your stitch length. And if you're joining in with the Secret Path course, it's time to sew on the outer borders. So sew on the side borders first, and make sure you pin them and sew with the borders on top, because that's going to stabilize the edges of the block. Press those seams out and then sew the top and bottom borders on in the same way. And the next step is to layer your block together with the batting and backing and quilt. So you'll find the quilting instructions and step-by-step photos for making the FPP blocks in the course notes. And here's our bonus applique block, designed by Alora and inspired by European tiles. So Alora has kept some of the elements, so some of the shapes, and put in some new shapes. So we've got a completely different block, which is looking really beautiful. So we can't wait to see what you come up with using the patterns, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.